I always thought my relationship with Meher was the only thing keeping me together. Every time the pressure at home grew heavy, every time expectations pushed into my chest like a weight I couldn't lift, she was the one person I could turn to. I used to tell her, "You're the only one who understands me," and she would smile and say, "Denial, I'm always here." I believed that. I held on to it like it was the one solid thing in my life. So that night, when I decided to come home early from work just to surprise her, I walked in with a small smile on my face. I imagined her laughing the moment she saw me. I imagined her hugging me and saying she missed me. I didn't imagine hearing someone else's laugh. I didn't imagine hearing Adil's voice coming from her room. I froze at the doorway when I heard her say, "He's too soft." Adil laughed. "Yeah, Denial takes everything too seriously." Then Meher said, "He's too easy. Too boring. Too simple to control." My heart stopped. I stepped back, pressing my hand against the wall because my legs suddenly felt weak. Adil added, "He trusts you too much." Meher laughed again. "Exactly. That's why it's easy." I couldn't breathe. For a moment I wondered if I was dreaming. I whispered to myself, "No, no, this can't be real." But their voices kept cutting into me. I pushed the door and it opened slightly. I saw them, Adil leaning back like he owned the place, Meher sitting comfortably like nothing was wrong. I stepped inside. "What exactly am I hearing?" I asked. Meher turned quickly. "Denial? You scared me. What are you doing home so early?" Adil forced a smile. "Bro, you came back quick." I looked at them. "What were you talking about?" Meher shook her head. "It's nothing. You're misunderstanding." "I heard everything," I said. "Too soft? Too boring? Easy to control? Is that what I am to you?" She stood up. "Denial, you're taking it the wrong way." Adil nodded. "Yeah bro, it was just a joke. Light talk. Light talk." I repeated. "You're both mocking me." Meher frowned. "You always exaggerate." "We were joking." I stared at her. "You really think I'm stupid enough to believe that?" Adil stepped forward. "Denial, relax. Don't make a scene." "Don't make a scene?" I said, feeling something twisting inside me. "I trusted both of you." Meher sighed loudly. "You're overreacting again. This is what I'm talking about. You get emotional for no reason." "For no reason?" I asked quietly. She looked away. "You're too sensitive." I felt something inside me crack. "So, you meant it?" Meher didn't answer. I asked, "Why would you say those things?" "For years, Meher. For years." She sat down again as if the conversation bored her. "Denial, don't make this dramatic. We were talking casually. You're always taking things to heart." Adil added, "Bro, you're blowing this out of proportion." I looked at him. "Adil, you were my closest friend." He shrugged. "We were just talking." I felt my throat tighten. "Talking about how useless I am?" Meher gave an irritated sigh. "Stop twisting everything." I looked at her carefully. "Did you ever actually care about me?" She hesitated. "We had good times." That hesitation was louder than anything she could have said. I stepped back. "I can't stay here." Meher reached for me. "Denial, don't walk out. Let's talk." "We already did," I said. Adil muttered, "Man, this is unnecessary." I looked at them one last time. Two people I loved. Two people who broke me without even blinking. I walked outside. The night was cold, rain beginning to fall. I didn't care. The air hit my face hard, but I kept walking. My heart felt heavy, heavier than I had ever felt in my life. I stopped at the end of the street, the rain soaking through my clothes. My chest hurt so much it felt like something inside me had died. I whispered into the dark, "Why wasn't I enough?" I always thought my relationship with Meher was the only thing keeping me together. Every time the pressure at home grew heavy, every time expectations pushed into my chest like a weight I couldn't lift, she was the one person I could turn to. I used to tell her, "You're the only one who understands me," and she would smile and say, "Denial, I'm always here." I believed that. I held on to it like it was the one solid thing in my life. So that night, when I decided to come home early from work just to surprise her, I walked in with a small smile on my face. I imagined her laughing the moment she saw me. I imagined her hugging me and saying she missed me. I didn't imagine hearing someone else's laugh. I didn't imagine hearing Adil's voice coming from her room. I froze at the doorway when I heard her say, "He's too soft." Adil laughed. "Yeah, Denial takes everything too seriously." Then Meher said, "He's too easy. Too boring. Too simple to control." My heart stopped. I stepped back, pressing my hand against the wall because my legs suddenly felt weak. Adil added, "He trusts you too much." Meher laughed again. "Exactly. That's why it's easy." I couldn't breathe. For a moment I wondered if I was dreaming. I whispered to myself, "No, no, this can't be real." But their voices kept cutting into me. I pushed the door and it opened slightly. I saw them, Adil leaning back like he owned the place, Meher sitting comfortably like nothing was wrong. I stepped inside. "What exactly am I hearing?" I asked. Meher turned quickly. "Denial? You scared me. What are you doing home so early?" Adil forced a smile. "Bro, you came back quick." I looked at them. "What were you talking about?" Meher shook her head. "It's nothing. You're misunderstanding." "I heard everything," I said. "Too soft? Too boring? Easy to control? Is that what I am to you?" She stood up. "Denial, you're taking it the wrong way." Adil nodded. "Yeah bro, it was just a joke. Light talk. Light talk." I repeated. "You're both mocking me." Meher frowned. "You always exaggerate. We were joking." I stared at her. "You really think I'm stupid enough to believe that?" Adil stepped forward. "Denial, relax. Don't make a scene." "Don't make a scene?" I said, feeling something twisting inside me. "I trusted both of you." Meher sighed loudly. "You're overreacting again. This is what I'm talking about. You get emotional for no reason." "For no reason?" I asked quietly. She looked away. "You're too sensitive." I felt something inside me crack. "So, you meant it?" Meher didn't answer. I asked, "Why would you say those things?" "For years, Meher. For years." She sat down again as if the conversation bored her. "Denial, don't make this dramatic. We were talking casually. You're always taking things to heart." Adil added, "Bro, you're blowing this out of proportion." I looked at him. "Adil, you were my closest friend." He shrugged. "We were just talking." I felt my throat tighten. "Talking about how useless I am?" Meher gave an irritated sigh. "Stop twisting everything." I looked at her carefully. "Did you ever actually care about me?" She hesitated. "We had good times." That hesitation was louder than anything she could have said. I stepped back. "I can't stay here." Meher reached for me. "Denial, don't walk out. Let's talk." "We already did," I said. Adil muttered, "Man, this is unnecessary." I looked at them one last time. Two people I loved. Two people who broke me without even blinking. I walked outside. The night was cold, rain beginning to fall. I didn't care. The air hit my face hard, but I kept walking. My heart felt heavy, heavier than I had ever felt in my life. I stopped at the end of the street, the rain soaking through my clothes. My chest hurt so much it felt like something inside me had died. I whispered into the dark, "Why wasn't I enough?" I woke up slowly, my eyes heavy, every breath an effort. The sterile smell of the hospital hit me first, sharp and strange. Then I felt her hands, Amy, shaking, wet with tears, holding mine like if she let go, I'd disappear again. "Beta, you're awake," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Thank God, thank God." I tried to speak, but my throat was raw. "Amy," I croaked, my own voice foreign to me. She squeezed my hand tighter. "Don't scare me like that again. You were gone." I blinked, taking in the white walls, the machines, the tubes. 2 days. 2 days I hadn't known I was still alive. My chest ached, my body heavy with pain and exhaustion. And yet I was breathing. Still here. Somehow. I turned my head slightly. The chair by the bed was empty except for the folded blanket Amy had brought. My phone sat on the table. I had to check. I shouldn't, but I needed to know. No messages from Meher. Not one. I swallowed hard, rage simmering quietly beneath the shock. The betrayal hadn't ended. She hadn't come to see me. She hadn't even sent a message. Just silence. I clenched my fist. I will never beg for love again," I whispered, my voice trembling with both pain and determination. "Never." Emmy noticed the shift in my expression. "Beta? Are you okay?" "I'm thinking," I said. "Thinking about everything. About what I will become." She nodded, though her eyes were still red. "You're alive. That's what matters." I let out a shaky breath. Alive. Yes. But not the same. Something inside me had shifted. Pain had turned into something else, a quiet, cold rage that promised change. I wouldn't stay broken. I wouldn't stay small. Later, Dr. Halima came in. She smiled gently, her eyes kind but firm. "You're awake finally. How are you feeling?" I tried to meet her gaze. Like I've been given a second chance. I just don't know why. Fate? Luck? Or cruelty? She nodded. It doesn't matter. You're here now. And that's what counts. But now you have work to do, therapy, physical recovery, building yourself back. Step by step. I nodded slowly, letting her words sink in. I will do it. I have to. I can't go back to being weak. She smiled softly. Exactly. And don't rush. Healing is as much about the mind as the body. The next few hours blurred together. Nurses came, checked vitals, brought medicine. Emmy never left my side. And still, in the quiet moments, I thought about her. Meher. The way she walked out of my life without even looking back. The way her laughter with him haunted me. I clenched my jaw. She will regret everything, I whispered to myself. Every word, every betrayal. She'll see what she lost. Emmy reached for my hand again. Beta, don't let hate consume you. I won't, I said firmly, my fingers tightening around hers. But I won't stay soft either. I've learned what it feels like to be crushed, and I won't let it happen again. Ever. Dr. Halima returned later in the day. Denial, I caught myself. Not my name. Just focus. You've got to commit to the process. Therapy, strength training, mental work. You've survived something unimaginable. Now survive yourself. Rebuild yourself. And when you're ready, the world will notice. I nodded, a fire lighting inside me. Not just survival, but resurgence. I could feel the gears turning, planning, calculating, preparing. I would rise. I would grow stronger, smarter, untouchable. Lying there, broken but breathing, I made a promise to myself. A vow that no one would break again. Not her. Not anyone. I looked at the ceiling, letting the machines beep in steady rhythm, letting the sunlight through the blinds cast lines across the room. My chest tightened, not from fear, not from pain, but from purpose. I will return, I whispered louder this time, a vow that rattled the quiet room. But not as the man they destroyed. The words settled in my chest. They were mine, hard and sharp, carrying every ounce of rage, grief, and determination. I wasn't weak anymore. I wasn't someone to be laughed at or walked over. I had been broken, and now I would rise. The rehab center smelled of antiseptic and determination. Every muscle in my body ached, every movement a reminder of how far I had fallen. But I refused to stay broken. I pushed myself with a quiet, simmering fury. Pain and humiliation fueled me as I went through the motions. Stretch, lift, walk, repeat. Every session was slow, every improvement painstaking, but I moved forward anyway. One afternoon, as I struggled to complete my repetitions, a voice called out. Need a spot. I looked up and saw him. Another patient, his arm in a sling, the expression on his face tired but steady. I think I can manage, I said, though my legs shook. Don't lie to yourself, he said with a grin. We're partners now. You push me, I push you. Deal? I hesitated, then nodded. Deal. From that moment he became my anchor. We pushed each other relentlessly, both physically and mentally. Come on, Saad barked one day as I struggled with a weighted bar. You're stronger than this. Remember why you're here. I gritted my teeth. I won't let weakness define me, I said, lifting it again. He clapped me on the back. Now that's the fire I'm talking about. Outside the gym, I threw myself into other skills. Public speaking, leadership, digital marketing. I consumed everything I could find, scribbling notes, practicing speeches, reading articles. Each new skill made me feel alive in a way I hadn't felt in years. I can do this, I muttered to myself while pacing my small room. I can be more than what they think I am. Every mirror became a reminder of transformation. My face looked sharper, my jaw stronger. My voice, once hesitant, now carried confidence. My body, though still healing, became a weapon of endurance. Every day I cut a little more away from my old self. I made a conscious decision to cut all contact with Meher and Adil. No calls, no messages, no social media checks. The silence felt heavy at first, but it became freeing. I could think clearly. I could breathe. Samira noticed. One evening she approached me with a soft smile. You've changed, she said. I see it. You're different. Denial. Better. I looked down at my hands, feeling the strength returning. I'm not just healing, I said. I'm evolving. Every day a little stronger, a little sharper. She nodded. I'll always support you. You know that. I appreciated her words, though I didn't let myself depend on anyone too much. Support was fine, but I had to carry myself first. I had to rise alone, first and foremost. Months passed in a blur of sweat, study, and discipline. Saad became more than a gym partner. He was a mirror reflecting my determination back at me. "Look at you," he said one day after a brutal circuit. "You've got the fire. You're unstoppable if you keep this up." I smiled faintly. "I won't stop. I can't." Then the breakthrough came. A call from a rising tech firm led by Mr. Raza. The interview was brief, intense, and terrifying. I walked in, shoulders squared, heart steady, voice calm. He asked questions I didn't know, but I answered honestly, showing what I had learned and how I had changed. "You've got potential," Mr. Raza said finally, leaning back in his chair. "Not just skills but mindset. I can see it. You'll fit here." I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. "Thank you, sir. I won't disappoint you." After leaving the office, I stepped out into the sun, letting it warm my face. Saad's words echoed in my mind, Ami's quiet encouragement too, but mostly, it was my own voice I listened to. My chest swelled with the knowledge that I had fought through everything, rebuilt myself from fragments, and now stood ready for the world. "I'm not healing," I whispered to myself, letting the words sink in, hard and deliberate. "I'm evolving." And with that, I felt a surge of power, quiet but undeniable. I had survived the betrayal, the pain, the humiliation. And now, I was becoming something more than who I had ever been. Months had passed since I stepped into Mr. Raza's office. Every day I honed myself, growing sharper, colder, more deliberate. I smiled less, spoke less, trusted no one fully. My social confidence increased, but my heart stayed guarded, locked away behind walls built from betrayal and pain. "Zion, you need to be precise in your presentation tomorrow," Mr. Raza said one afternoon, his tone sharp but approving. "Every word matters." I nodded, adjusting my blazer. "Understood. I'll rehearse again tonight." He looked at me with a calculating gaze. "Good. That attitude will get you far here. Keep it steady, don't let emotions interfere." I kept my expression neutral. I've learned how not to. At work, people started noticing the change. My calm, measured demeanor drew attention. Hiba, in particular, seemed intrigued. She approached one day in the break room. "You're different," she said softly, tilting her head. "More controlled." I looked at her briefly, then back to my laptop. "I focus on what matters." She smiled faintly. "I can see that. It's attractive." I didn't respond beyond a nod. Attraction wasn't my concern. Emotions were irrelevant. Survival was everything. Mr. Raza began training me directly, mentoring me through projects, evaluating every move. "Your pace is impressive," he said during a meeting. "I'm placing you in a higher position next quarter." I nodded calmly. "Thank you, sir. I'll continue to perform." Each day, I climbed further, not because I wanted recognition but because power and influence were the shields I needed. People spoke less in my presence, watched more, analyzed, whispered. I didn't care. Let them. Then came the invitation. A major tech event, one that brought the industry's top minds together. I would be a guest speaker. The thought didn't excite me. It merely provided another stage to prove what I had become. On the day of the event, I dressed meticulously. Dark tailored suit, crisp shirt, polished shoes. I looked at myself in the mirror. Someone else stared back, someone composed, commanding, untouchable. I felt nothing, no nerves, no anticipation, just readiness. Entering the hall, I felt eyes follow me. The low murmurs, the turned heads, the whispers of, "Who's that?" fueled the calm I carried. I walked steadily, scanning the room, preparing to take the stage. And then I saw them. Meher. Adil. They froze immediately. I noticed the tension in Adil's shoulders, the rigid way he stood. Meher's eyes widened, her mouth slightly open. She whispered almost to herself, "Is that Zion?" I didn't flinch. I didn't respond. I had expected this moment. I had envisioned it countless nights. And yet, seeing them in that instant, powerless, unsettled, shocked, was satisfying in a way I didn't need to acknowledge aloud. I approached the stage, my heels clicking steadily against the floor. Around me, people whispered, glanced. Hiba stood nearby, her curiosity evident. "You walk differently now," she said softly, almost testing me. I gave a small, controlled smile. "I've learned how to carry myself." The audience quieted as I reached the podium. Lights shone down, cameras focused, and the world seemed to narrow to the moment. I breathed steadily, my body strong, my voice calm. This was no longer the boy who had crumbled, the man who had begged silently for love. This was the version who had been broken, who had rebuilt, who had evolved. From the corner of my eye, I watched Meher and Adil. Adil looked threatened, like he had misjudged everything. Meher's gaze lingered longer, shock written across her face. Their whispers didn't reach me fully, but I heard fragments. Can it be him? I gripped the podium lightly, the only movement I allowed myself. Inside, the quiet rage had settled into sharp clarity. I didn't need to speak to them. The tables had turned. Power had shifted. I was untouchable now. I cleared my throat and addressed the audience. Thank you for having me here today. I'm honored to share my experiences and insights with you. The words flowed effortlessly. Each sentence was measured, each pause deliberate. Confidence radiated naturally. Hiba's eyes met mine briefly, recognition in her gaze, but she didn't speak. She didn't need to. I finished, the applause rolling over me like confirmation. I had arrived, not as the boy they betrayed, not as the man they had underestimated. I was evolution incarnate, and the world, including those who had hurt me, had no choice but to acknowledge it. The stage lights shone, my chest lifted slightly. And I knew as I looked back at Meher and Adil one last time, that everything had changed. The tables had turned. I didn't expect her to approach me first. But there she was, Meher, walking up with that practiced smile like nothing had happened. "Hi," she said softly, tilting her head. "It's been a while." I looked at her, calm and composed. "Yes, it has." Her eyes flicked down for a moment. I didn't move. I didn't soften. My silence was deliberate. It said more than anger ever could. I just wanted to check how you're doing," she said, trying too hard. I nodded once, polite. "I'm fine." She hesitated. "You're changed?" "Maybe," I said evenly, keeping my voice steady. "I'm focused on other things now." Her smile faltered slightly. She expected a reaction, an apology, a hint of emotion. I gave her none. Adil hovered nearby, arms crossed, pretending to be unconcerned. But I caught the way he kept glancing at me nervously, as if measuring what I might do next. "You look successful," Meher continued, a hint of curiosity creeping into her tone. "You've done well." I shrugged. "I've been working hard. That's all." She faltered again. I wanted to say I'm sorry for everything." I didn't flinch. "Words aren't enough." She swallowed, unsure. I didn't know you'd become so distant. I miss what we had." I let silence answer. The quiet between us was heavy, more painful than anger. I could see the frustration building in her eyes. That was enough. Adil finally spoke, his voice tight. "Look, don't make this weird. We're fine. Everything's fine." I didn't respond to him. I didn't need to. His bravado was hollow. I could see it clearly. He was unraveling just like her. Rumors reached me in time. Their relationship, once glossy and envied, was cracking under the weight of truth. Financial mismanagement. Emotional abuse. Adil had used her savings, treated her carelessly, and the social circle whispered every detail. Karma was working quietly, almost theatrically. Meher didn't understand that I was watching everything from a distance. She didn't realize I knew, or that I was taking my satisfaction in silence. Late at night, my phone buzzed. A message from her. "Why are you avoiding me? I just want to talk. Please, don't ignore me." I didn't reply. I stared at the screen, the words mocking me. She acted as if she hadn't destroyed me, as if nothing had ever happened. Another message. "I miss you. Can we meet? Please?" I left it unread. My satisfaction was cold, but it fueled me. Watching her crumble while I continued to rise was intoxicating. Dangerous even, but I didn't care. Work, study, physical training, everything I had built, I focused entirely on that. My calm, detached demeanor at the office drew attention, but nothing distracted me. Hiba noticed, of course. She tried to reach out, but I kept boundaries strict. My attention was mine, reserved for improvement, for evolution. Messages continued, long paragraphs pleading, attempting to guilt me into response. I read them once, then deleted. Each one was a reminder of what she had lost. "She's relentless," Saad said one day in the gym. "She keeps reaching, but you're untouchable." I smiled faintly, lifting weights. Untouchable is exactly the goal. I caught a glimpse of Meher and Adil at a cafe later, faces drawn, tense, talking quietly. He looked uncomfortable, she looked desperate. Rumors were more than truth. They were reality. I stayed distant, letting the world play out as it would. My satisfaction didn't need expression. It lived quietly inside me, constant, sharp. "You're different," Saad commented, noticing my focus. "You don't get distracted. Nothing shakes you anymore." "Nothing worth it," I said, lowering the bar. "Everything else is noise." Even at night, when messages appeared again, my fingers hovered over the screen and then pulled back. Silence remained my weapon. I had learned the power of indifference. Watching them fall while I built myself higher and sharper, it was addictive. Dangerous, yes, but it was mine. My revenge wasn't loud. It was cold, methodical, and perfect in its execution. And in that quiet, constant satisfaction, I realized something. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was ascending. Every misstep they made, every failure, every glance of desperation, they reminded me why I had stopped begging for love. I deleted another message. Another plea. Another attempt to reclaim what she had already lost. I whispered to myself softly, almost as a mantra, "This is mine. All of it." I rise. They fall. I was at my desk when she walked in. Meher. Tears streaking her face, mascara running, hands trembling. "Denial, please, can we talk?" she said, voice breaking. "I need to explain. I need you to listen." I looked up slowly, meeting her gaze. Calm, distant, polite. "Go on," I said. She swallowed, took a shaky breath. "It's a deal. He's been cheating. Stealing from me. Lying about everything. I made a mistake choosing him over you. I didn't move. I didn't interrupt. I just listened." She stepped closer, hand reaching out. "Please. I know I hurt you. I know I destroyed everything. But I pulled my hand back before hers could touch mine. "Stop," I said quietly. "You killed me once. I won't die for you again." Her lips trembled. I didn't think I could lose you, Denial. I didn't. I kept my voice even. "I'm not the person you left behind. That boy is gone." She sobbed, bending forward, hands gripping the edge of my desk. "I was wrong. I was so wrong." People were watching. I could see them staring from cubicles, whispering quietly. Some tried not to look. The office had gone silent. She tried again, choking on her words. "I can fix this. I can make it right." "You can't," I said. My tone was steady, unwavering. "You can't undo what you've done. You can't unmake me trust you." Her hands fell to her sides. Her shoulders shook violently. Tears rolled freely now. "I miss you. I never stopped loving you." I exhaled slowly, feeling no stir of the old pain. Only clarity. Only distance. "Love. You call that love?" She shook her head, sobs loud in the quiet office. "I was blind, Denial. I let him take everything. Please. I need you to understand." I stood calm, my eyes locked on hers. "I understand perfectly. You chose him. You made your bed. And now you lie in it." She tried again to step closer. "Remember when we used to?" I held up my hand. "No, stop. Those days are gone. I won't let the past chain me." Her lips quivered, voice barely a whisper. "I thought you'd forgive me. I thought." "You thought wrong," I said finally. My voice soft but hard. "I won't forgive you. Not this time." At that moment, the door swung open. Adil barged in, face red, fists clenched. "What's going on here? Who do you think you are?" "Out," I said calmly, standing between him and her. He took a step forward. "You can't talk to her like that." Security moved instantly, placing themselves between us. Adil struggled, tried to push past, but they were stronger. They threw him out. His shouts echoed in the hall, but no one moved to help him. Meher sank into a chair, her body shaking. I stayed standing, calm, letting her grief play out. The entire office watched in silence. Whispers spread. Eyes followed. Phones peeked from pockets. I ruined everything," she said between sobs. "I see it now. I see what I lost." "I told you," I said. "I won't die for you again. That chapter is closed." Her cries grew louder. She had nothing left. No pretense. No facade. Just raw grief. I walked back to my desk, my movements deliberate. My face was still calm, composed. The old Denial would have begged, pleaded, tried to comfort. The new Denial only observed. Outside, I could see colleagues murmuring, some shaking their heads, some whispering about the scandal unfolding. Adil's betrayal, Meher's downfall, it had become public knowledge without me lifting a finger. Karma finally visible. She looked up at me, exhausted, broken. I lost you. I can't get you back." I nodded once. "Good. Learn from it." The office remained tense for hours after. People talked quietly, shocked at the confrontation. Meher's tears, Adil's ejection, the exposure of their lies, it was all out in the open now. I sat back down, picking up my pen as if nothing had happened. Calm. Collected. Untouchable. For the first time, I felt that cold satisfaction I had been chasing quietly for months. Watching them fall while I remained standing, It was dangerous, yes, but addictive. And I wasn't done. I glanced at Meher, still trembling. I survived. You lost. And you'll remember it. She nodded faintly, unable to speak. I turned back to my work, letting the noise of the office settle around me. The past had tried to destroy me. Now it was powerless. And I remained unbroken. The promotion came quietly. I was called into Mr. Raza's office one morning, the usual sharp suits and serious expressions surrounding us. Denial, effective immediately, you're moving into a senior management role, he said, eyes calculating but with approval. I expect you to continue performing at this level, and beyond. I nodded, calm. Understood, sir. I'll meet expectations. Hiba, standing nearby, smiled softly. Congratulations, she said. Her voice carried warmth, subtle but genuine. Thank you, I replied. My tone was neutral, polite, but not cold. I felt composed, balanced. Days passed, each structured, disciplined. Work stabilized my life. The chaos of the past felt distant, contained. Hiba and I grew closer slowly. Gentle conversations during breaks, coffee together, quiet laughter over minor office absurdities. You've changed, she said one afternoon, adjusting her glasses. Calmer, sharper, but softer in some way. I looked at her, letting the words settle. I've learned how to control myself. To focus. Nothing more. She smiled, a little shy. I like this version of you. It feels steady. Steady. I like the sound of that. I like the weight of control. Samira noticed too. One evening she called, voice bright on the phone. Denial, I just want to say, I'm so proud of you. Look at everything you've done. Look at how far you've come. I smiled faintly, listening. Thank you, Samira. That means a lot. Meanwhile, Meher's messages continued. Long, desperate, apologies mixed with regrets, her voice virtually bleeding through each line. I was blind. I hurt you. I don't know how to live with this. Please, Denial. Another one. I never realized. I see now what I destroyed. Please forgive me. I didn't block her. I didn't reply. I let the messages come, let her drown in her guilt, each sentence a reminder of the past she could never undo. One quiet afternoon, I walked into a cafe, settling at a corner table with my laptop. And there she was, Meher, sitting alone, head down. She looked up when she saw me, eyes red, tears fresh. Denial. Her voice trembled. I need to talk to you. Please. Just one last time. I gestured to the seat across from me, calm. Go ahead. Speak. She hesitated, then poured out everything. Apologies, regrets, confessions about a deal, everything she wished she'd done differently. Her hands shook, and for a moment I felt the weight of her desperation, but not enough to weaken me. I can't believe I hurt you so badly. Please, can we fix this? She begged. I leaned back slightly, observing, calm. I forgive you. Her breath caught. Relief and hope flashed across her face. You do. I nodded, maintaining my distance. But I don't want you in my life. She froze. Words didn't just hurt, they shattered. I could see her crumble in that instant, not from anger, not from shouting, but from absolute, cold truth. I don't understand, she whispered, trembling. You will, I said softly. And you'll learn to live with it. Her shoulders slumped. Tears fell freely now. I didn't move. I didn't console. I let her grief exist fully. The cafe felt quiet, as if the world paused for her realization. People moved around us, oblivious, while the finality between us hung heavy. You're really gone from me? She whispered, barely audible. I am, I replied. Composed. Certain. But not in hate. In clarity. She tried to speak again, but nothing came out. I gave her a small nod, signaling that nothing more would be said. Her body sagged further, tears rolling down her face. I let her sit in the silence she created for herself. For the first time in years I felt free. Light. No anger, no grief, no obsession with what was lost. Only the calm satisfaction of control and distance. I packed up my laptop, standing slowly. Hiba waved from the counter and I smiled faintly in response. Normalcy. Progress. Life. As I walked out into the afternoon sun, the cold satisfaction settled in my chest. It was addictive, yes, but clean and controlled. I had survived the destruction, risen above the chaos, and finally reclaimed my life. I whispered under my breath, more to myself than anyone else, I am free. And I felt it. Truly, finally free. I sit at my desk, the city lights dim behind the glass, and I let my thoughts wander through everything that brought me here. Betrayal, humiliation, despair, they played like a relentless loop in my mind. Was it all worth it? I whispered to myself, voice soft in the quiet office. The pain, the nights I thought I'd never breathe again? I shake my head slightly. Yes, it was worth it because it brought me here. Because I survived. The accident flashes back, sharp and blinding. Tires screeching, metal bending, that moment where I thought my life had ended. And then, darkness. Stay with me, denial. Amy's voice echoes in memory, frantic and desperate. You can't leave me. I inhaled deeply, remembering waking in the hospital. The raw realization that I'd been given another chance. Maybe by fate, maybe by cruelty. I had promised myself then that I'd never beg for love again. I whisper softly to no one, I survived myself first. I rebuilt myself first. Not for anyone, not for her, not for them. For me. The memories of Meher's betrayal rise, sharp and bitter. But now instead of pain there's clarity. She doesn't matter anymore, I murmur. I don't need her guilt to validate my growth. I don't need her apology to feel whole. I glance at the stack of messages she once sent, long apologies, desperate cries. They sit there unread, untouched. Her pain is hers now. I'm free of it. Samira's voice comes to mind, warm and encouraging. You've grown so much. You're unshakable now. I nod quietly, smiling faintly to myself. Unshakable, yes. Not because of vengeance, not because of anger. Because of clarity, strength, focus. I remember the office confrontation, her tears, a deal thrown out by security. I remember feeling that cold, controlled satisfaction as they crumbled without me lifting a finger. That was enough. I didn't need to hurt them. Karma had done it all. Power, I say aloud, voice steady. Not revenge. Control. Self-respect. That's what matters. Hiba's soft presence, the slow friendship that grew into gentle understanding, comes to mind. Not love, not dependence, just steady connection. I had learned that I could thrive without needing anyone to complete me. I look at my reflection in the glass, dark hair trimmed, face sharper, eyes calm but alert. I am myself. Entirely. No one else's influence, no one else's approval matters anymore. I reach for my laptop and start typing. Words flow easily, from years of pain transformed into lessons. Mental resilience, self-growth, navigating betrayal, rising from trauma. I write it all. Maybe someone will read this, I murmur. Maybe it helps. Maybe they learn from my story without needing to stumble as I did. Each sentence feels purposeful. Each word is a mark of my evolution. I am no longer the boy who begged for love, who froze in shock, who drove recklessly in despair. That version of me is gone. A gentle breeze brushes past the open window, carrying the faint hum of early traffic. I pause, breathing deeply, letting the calm sink in. My chest lifts not with grief, but with presence. I don't need her pain. I don't need anyone's approval. I only need my peace, I whisper. The words feel heavier, fuller, freeing. The first hint of sunrise touches the skyline, soft and golden, spilling into the office. I stand, stretching, feeling the warmth on my face. I choose this life, I say aloud, voice confident, calm. Defined not by heartbreak, not by betrayal, not by fear. Defined by strength, by clarity, by resilience, by me. I close the laptop, take one last glance around the quiet office and step outside. The air is crisp, clean, filled with possibility. The city stretches ahead, alive and waiting, and I am ready to move through it on my own terms. The light of the sunrise falls on my face, softening the years of pain, illuminating my path forward. I feel it in my chest, the calm, unwavering certainty that I have reclaimed my life. I inhale deeply, exhaling slowly. I lived again. For myself this time. And I walk forward, steady, unshaken, free. I sit at my desk, phone silent beside me. No new messages. No Meher. I blink, letting it sink in. Finally, I whisper. Samira called earlier. Denial, it's quiet now, isn't it? She said, warmth in her voice. Yes, I said. It's over. All of it. You look different, she added softly. I smiled faintly, eyes scanning the city outside the window. I am different. I'm not the same boy she left behind. You mean, stronger? Yes. Stronger, wiser, unshakable. I laughed lightly, a sound that surprised me. Not just stronger. Rebuilt. Silence fell between us and I let it linger. I didn't need to explain everything. She would see it in my posture, the way I held myself, the calm in my voice. You're at peace then? Samira asked carefully. I shrugged, stretching my shoulders. I'm not at peace. I'm complete. Pain shaped me. Betrayal sharpened me. But I survived. I grew. There's a knock at the door. Hiba peeks in. Hey, just checking if you're okay. I meet her gaze calm. I'm more than okay. I'm alive. And I've moved forward. You seem untouchable now, she says, smiling faintly. I chuckle softly. Untouchable isn't the goal. Awareness is. Clarity. Self-respect. That's what I built. Hiba nods, understanding more than words could express. She leaves quietly, letting me sit in the stillness. I pick up my phone again. Nothing. No unread messages, no desperate pleas. I exhale slowly. She tried to reach me for months, I murmur, but words can't undo choices. They can't reach someone who rebuilt himself. I stand looking at the skyline. The city stretches endlessly, alive with movement, indifferent to our dramas. I let the thought settle. I touch the empty phone screen. She killed the old me, I whisper, voice steady, carrying weight. But the man who stands now, he's someone she can never touch again. And for the first time in years I feel it fully. Freedom. Power. Clarity. No one else matters. No past can pull me back. The ashes of who I was now fuel the man I am. I step away from the desk, letting the light catch my face, letting it mark the end of that story. The silence around me hums with possibility. I breathe deeply, exhale slowly, and smile faintly. I am alive. I am rebuilt. I am untouchable.